This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
And then any good Steiner Brothers stories?
Wow. You know what? It's a reality. And I'll tell you, because it's current, over the weekend, I did a signing at WrestleCon down in Tampa, and WrestleMania weekend, obviously. And if you remember Rick Steiner, forget about Big Papa Pump. When you first saw Rick Steiner, and probably would have been 85 or 86, you remember how thick his shoulders were? First time you saw him on TV, I mean, they were like grapefruits.
Right.
So I saw him and his brother were down there this weekend. I came around the corner and there he was. And he was like, I mean, he looked fit and all that, trim, but he looked like he might have been 220. So it took me a minute to figure out, Jesus Christ, that's Rick Steiner. Went over and we were talking and I went, hey, Robbie, let me, tell me the truth here. It's like, do you look at like your Facebook, if you have Facebook, or your wife's Facebook, and some of these guys you went to school, I mean, you see pictures of them now, don't they look old as shit? And he looked at me and went, yeah. I said, do we look that bad? Now, I was fishing for a positive answer. Mm-hmm. He said, Arn, we look like shit too. I said, but that's not what I wanted, Rob. I said, I tell the story all the time about coming in the gym and you having 365 pounds on the bar. I thought you were benching. You were doing behind the neck presses. Yeah. And he looked at me and he went, and he raised his shoulder about that high. And he said, that's as far as I can raise it.
Yeah.
And that's reality of what this business does to you. But that's my story.
Yeah, well, he and his brother, as Arn could, they were the toughest kids ever, right? And yeah, and it's like there's probably a handful of people in the business that, in reality, you really didn't want to fuck with, and he was one, and probably Scotty too before he became Big Papa Pump, and obviously Haku was another one, and the Barbarian. Those guys,
Steve
Williams, Dr. Death. You didn't want to fuck with those guys. And for some reason, Eric Bischoff's son, Garrett, who's a grown man now, back in the day was like this little punk that would run around and fucking around with wrestlers. Okay. And he would run around and he would hit Rick and hit Scott or something. And they would beat the fuck out of this kid. They would take him and slam him up against the wall. And I would say, God damn, you guys are being rough. They would said, fuck it. He likes this. And Garrett would laugh and he'd go run around. They'd take him again, bam, right against the wall. I'm thinking, you're going to hurt this kid, buddy. You're going to hurt this kid. And they just laugh. But that's the way they were. They were like pranksters. I mean, there's a story. I don't know if it's true that they were in Germany one time and Oliver, who was our German announcer, that they got him drunk and they taped his hands behind him, duct taped his hands behind him, and he passed out. And they shaved all of his eyebrows off and wrote with swastikas with Sharpies on his forehead and everything, and laughed about him. And that's just the way they were. They were they were a lot of fun to watch fuck up other people. So
yeah, I was listening to the Scott Steiner 83 Weeks episode that I'm halfway through.
Yeah.
And yeah, they apparently were really fun when Eric Bischoff met the Steiner Brothers. So
yeah.
But yeah,
I miss him. I loved him. I really did. And of course, when Scotty became Big Papa Pump, he was out of control. He really was. And we had this angle where JJ, who was the chairman or the general manager of WCW at that time, if you guys remember that, and he was going to fine Big Papa Pump and suspend him for actions that night on Nitro. And so JJ came out during a commercial break. And of course, a lot of times we did things like off the cuff, right? JJ says, I said, what are you doing now? He said, I'm going to make an announcement that Scott Steiner is going to be suspended and fined. He said, now Scott's going to come out. And Heenan looked at me and said, and we're getting the fuck out of here. And JJ said, no, I'm going to stop him like that. And he'll stop when I put the hands up and I said, you are out of your fucking mind. 3, 2, 1, we're on the air. JJ, what are you? So we're finding Big Papa Pump for the actions. And he came out, and as soon as he walked out, Heenan and I think Tanae ran. And a good thing we did, because he destroyed the whole fucking set. He took chairs and he threw them everywhere. And I remember telling JJ, I said, good job of stopping him, you dumb fucker. Okay. And that's just the way he was. When he became, Arn, you said, when he became Big Papa Pump, he was like on another planet. I mean, he was out of his mind. So
His body changed and his thought process changed.
yeah. Yeah.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.